We're going to begin tonight with the continuing coverage of that Franklin County Prison project. Arkansas lawmakers met today to hear from a group of people who filed a complaint against that project. 5 News reporter Claire Everbach listened in on that 4-hour meeting and tells us what happened.
Lord, we think of our brother Gary Stubblefield and his family. May we understand that what we do here today doesn't just impact those that are here today, but those that will be coming in the future.
The meeting opened with a prayer to honor State Senator Gary Stubblefield, who passed away last week at the age of 74. The group Gravel and Grit, created to oppose the prison, got to speak first, arguing the Mill Creek Mountain site is unsuitable.
The site is by no means the best site in the state for a new prison. It's less than well-equipped. It's less than ill-equipped for a prison facility, and it presents a myriad of out-of-the-ordinary barriers to building a new, large-scale prison.
They cited issues with water supply, electricity, transportation access, and lack of community agreement, but say this is just a part of their concern.
What we've shown you today is a fraction of what we've uncovered, and all of this is just from some Google searches and FOIA requests. Arkansas deserves the full story. They deserve honesty, transparency, and accountability from their government.
Some state representatives pushed back, saying the issue isn't if to build a prison, but where.
I think we do have a crisis and we got to do something about it. I mean, is that not the purpose that we're here today? Whether it's building a new prison here, there, or somewhere else, we got to have space for these people.
I am for a prison. We need one. But the location that we picked is the wrong one.
But others noted alternative sites aren't being discussed.
There seems to be an unwillingness to even consider another site at this point.
Some representatives suggested multiple smaller prisons instead of one large facility.
Maybe we don't need 3,000 all in one spot, that we need to separate it into 3 1,000-bed prisons.
The conversation also turned to frustration after senior advisor to the governor, Joe Porfiry, was a no-show.
Mr. Porfiry, that he is either going to come over here or we're going to take his pay away from him. And I don't care how the senators feel about it, but it's a slap in the face of every one of you. And you voted not to subpoena him to come in here. And that does not sit very well with me.
Board of Corrections members Lee Watson and Benny Magnus defended the current plan, saying a single large facility is more efficient to run. Covering news where you live, Claire Everbach, 5 News.
Ultimately, each side said they want further conversation before any decision is made to move forward. Let's talk about the forecast now. Joshua Weisel here now with us to tell us it may be nice overnight, but come the afternoon, it's pretty darn warm these next few days.
Oh, yes, and Mother Nature wants to remind us that, hey, it's not quite there yet for fall. Summer is still technically here, and as you can see with the current satellite and radar, there was actually a little bit of activity that made its way into our area shortly, even a couple of lingering showers still. There's a little bitty disturbance further to the north and west that's helping to lead to this activity, and here's that activity that I was talking about. It made its way over Beaver Lake, over portions of Benton, Washington, Madison, and Carroll counties. We'll zoom in and show you. Really short-lived. I've been mentioning this all day. There's not enough of that instability to keep these things fueled. As it made its way south, quickly fizzled out. But some of us did get some moderate to maybe even some brief heavy rain. Temperatures right now feeling really good out there. 63 right now in Fayetteville. And then as we make our way into the River Valley, 72 in Fort Smith. So it's going to feel really good overnight tonight. A decent start to the day tomorrow in terms of those temperatures. But summer temperatures are on the way again. I'll let you know when, how long it lasts, and the full details coming up.
All right, Joshua, thanks. New tonight, a local nonprofit says it wants to help financially sustain the future of the Fort Smith Convention Center. River Valley Film Society is the group behind the Fort Smith Film Festival every year. Leaders with that group and Bordertown Live presented a few ideas to city directors tonight about how it could take a fund that's already in place to pay for shows, and because it's a nonprofit, can go after other revenue like grants and sponsorships. Brendan Goldsmith is director of Bordertown Live and says it would take at least 3 years to get things where they need to be in order to attract new shows and performances.
If we build a model where we have ticket subscriptions, plus merchandise sales, plus the grants, plus the sponsorships, plus the donor support, we believe over a 3-year period we can completely be self-funded and That's the whole idea, right? We don't want we don't want to be having to use your funds all the time.
Dr. Goldsmith says he hopes city directors will make a final decision on this before the end of this year. Fort Smith residents tonight got a chance to offer up some input about the environmental impacts of the expansion of the Foreign Military Sales Training Center program at the 188 there in Fort Smith. This expansion comes with adding 12 new F-35s to the program. The supplemental environmental impact statement released from the Air Force lists all of the impacts from land use to air quality. One of the biggest concerns, though, from the expansion has been the noise.
Based on the comments that we receive, any substantive comments we will incorporate into the final supplemental environmental impact statement, which is anticipated to be published in April of next year.
Residents have until September 24th to submit final written comments. Also in Fort Smith, Sebastian County Sheriff's investigators looking for at least 2 suspects in connection with a rash of thefts from Ben Guerin Park. All of the thefts were from vehicles parked in different locations at the park throughout last night. Among the items taken from the vehicles, purses, wallets, credit cards. If you have any information about these 2 suspects here, call the Sheriff's Office or Crime Stoppers at 78-CRIME. Around Arkansas, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders announcing that 40 National Guard members will be deployed in the state to assist ICE. 10 of them will be in Fayetteville, 10 will be in Fort Smith. Governor says the Guard will provide, quote, administrative support to ICE agents capturing violent, criminal, illegal immigrants. Community leaders from the Alliance for Immigrant Respect and Education say this deployment only heightens fear in the community.
I mean, I'm obviously against just innocent, undocumented people being stopped too that are not a danger to our community. But I also want to point out that people that are not undocumented are also getting stopped. So it's kind of like even me as a U.S. citizen run at risk as a brown man to get detained one day.
City of Fayetteville and the City of Fort Smith sending a statement saying the deployment is a state issue and they defer to the governor. Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin announcing 1 person was convicted of Medicaid fraud today. An additional person was arrested on similar charges. Shiley Earlette Hagler of Little Rock pled guilty to the charge. She was sentenced to 6 months suspended in position and fined $150. She'll also have to pay $297 in restitution. Griffin said 24-year-old Zariah Blake of Pine Bluff was arrested last Thursday. Blake falsely billed for services to a patient admitted to a local hospital. Meanwhile, in a separate ongoing Medicaid fraud case, the former head of the Arkansas State Medical Board, Brian Hyatt, was set to appear in court today, but that hearing was waived. The state is now seeking a fitness to proceed exam with a new hearing set for December. You can read the full case details on our website at 5newsonline.com. Developing tonight, multiple people recovering after a bus carrying a softball team crashed on a highway in Oklahoma last night. Highway Patrol responded to that crash last night just before 8 o'clock. Investigators say the driver, which was the head softball coach, swerved left to avoid a deer but eventually hit it. This happened near Minco as the Minco High School softball team was coming back from a game. The bus rolled multiple times. 4 people were ejected. 7 were injured, taken to the hospital. Some are still in critical condition tonight. A repeat criminal offender now facing a federal charge in the fatal stabbing of a Ukrainian refugee on a Charlotte, North Carolina train last month. Cheryl Hubbard says the Ukrainian woman's death is still sparking outrage in Charlotte and the White House. We do want to warn you, though, some video contained in this story is graphic.
Surveillance video shows the attack, which happened last month. 23-year-old Arina Zarutska boards the Blue Line train in Charlotte, North Carolina, and simply takes her seat. The man who is sitting behind her, identified as DeCarlos Brown Jr., attacks her unprovoked. Brown was charged federally with 1 count of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system.
We built a city that people want to live in, but we can lose that all if we allow violent crime like this to go on in our streets. And I'm here to tell you, the federal government is going to save our city from that.
The slaying fueling a White House law and order crusade targeting Democratic-led cities.
She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country.
Family members told CNN Brown was living in a homeless shelter. They said he'd been diagnosed with schizophrenia. Charlotte Transit officials say they are unsure that increased policing could stop an act like this from happening.
He wasn't interfacing in a manner that would have triggered attention to him that he was about to do a heinous act.
The suspect is in custody and charged in North Carolina with first-degree murder.
She fled amid the deadliest land war in Europe since World War II. She fled to the safety, or so she thought, of the United States.
Sherelle Hubbard, 5 News.
Back here at home, Hope Bridge, a national autism therapy provider, says it will close all of its Arkansas centers this fall. The company pointing to a change in state law as the reason for shutting down. In a statement, Hope Bridge says it'll end applied behavior analysis, speech, and occupational therapy services in Arkansas October 3rd. Now, the company cites the Child Care Facility Licensing Act. It requires any provider serving 5 or more unrelated children for certain hours to be licensed as a child care facility. Hope Bridge argues reclassifies it from a medical provider to a daycare, something it says conflicts with its clinical model of care.
As a parent with a child with autism, it's scary to leave your child with someone you don't know. So all of those families initially are going to be kind of shocked because you shop around. You don't just go to the first place that you find.
Hope Bridge says Arkansas families deserve access to quality autism services and urges state leaders now to recognize the importance of medically necessary care.